Yes, hello and welcome YouTubers and Doctor Who fanatics to another video on TG Productions video, more of an update video of what's to come on TG Productions because a new big series will be starting off, and it is related to the gorgeous, the underrated, the underappreciated Doctor Who books. Yeah, I think the last book review I did was of seriously, don't read it or you'll just be tormented by this. Yeah, the most recent book review. Yeah, don't fucking read it. Anyway, we're not talking about shitty St. Thespians. We're talking about a new series related to the Doctor Who books, and I just cannot wait to do this. This is on the topic of the Virgin New Adventures and the BBC 8th Doctor Adventures. These two ranges, back in the day, not too much now because books are rather just forgotten in time now, but there is still a small group of people who, are into the Doctor Who books, and I built quite a good audience who like the Doctor Who books, so, there's some around. So I think this series is very much appropriate, and it works since I built an audience with the books. So yeah, as I was saying, Virgin New Adventures and the BBC 8th Doctor Adventures back in the day, so much discussion around them of which range is the best. The Virgin New Adventures or the BBC 8th Doctor Adventures. So yeah, I got a new series which will put these two books together, and it's going to be, well, this reviewing series is probably going to last for quite some time, maybe 2 or 3 years if I'm still around on this channel. But yeah, this series is called the Ultimate Doctor Who Book Marathon. Now originally I was just going to marathon the Doctor Who EDA books, but I found that my channel gave me a better idea, so I can make this a little bit more entertaining. Why not marathon both the ranges simultaneously? The Virgin NAs and the BBC EDA books, so when I'm putting these two together and reading them at the same time, then you can really work out which one stands better. So we go like this. First one will be Timewyrm Genesys, then I'll sort the BBC EDAs with 8 Doctors, then Timewyrm Exodus, then Vampire Science, Timewyrm Apocalypse, etc, etc. So yeah, since the showcase series has now been concluded and it's going to be on a little bit of rest until the build-up of the ginormous 50th showcase, which is being worked on behind the scenes, and it's going to be quite some time before that is released. So yeah, while the showcase series is not going to be on the channel for quite some time, this series will fill in the gap. Now I'm going to give you a bit of an example of how this series is going to work, because I've got all sorts of rating systems and whatnot in this one, so I'm going to explain how this series works before I start it up May this year. So of course the first book review to start off this series would be the first Virgin New Adventure. The first book review would be Timewyrm Genesys being the first new adventure, and then when I've reviewed it and all that and do my in-depth ratings, which is marked out 120, where I mark it in individual categories, which I've done for a few reviews, some of them which haven't come out yet, but it's been seen with my Beast of Kravenos review. So I rate it out of individual categories like characters and how they're characterized and developed and whatnot, the story, the ideas, the padding, the drive of the story, the utilization of its different elements, its originality, and stuff like that. So say, for example, this book got about 80 out of a possible 120, which with an estimation overall gives it a 7 out of 10, then that book gets 80 points for the Virgin New Adventures range. Then next up I'll be reviewing a BBC EDA book, the first one being the 8 Doctors, and say for example I preferred this one a little bit more and gave it 100, and I would mark it a very high 8 out of 10, then that would get 100 on the board. You see how this rating system is going to work now? It's a good way to see at what period of time which range comes up on top. So that's just a little rating system I've worked into this series just to make it a little bit more interesting for not only my viewers but for me as well, just to see at what point will the Virgin New Adventures fall, where the EDAs will pick up or something like that. Now you're probably saying there's far less Virgin New Adventures than BBC EDA books. There's 73 Doctor Who EDA books, and the Virgin New Adventures, they're not as high as that. and the Virgin New Adventures don't have that many. So to sort that problem out, I'm throwing in a couple of Virgin Missing Adventures to sort that out, so both will be totaled at 73 books. It could be 74 because I'm not too sure if I want to review Fear itself in this as well, because it is technically a PDA book, so I'm undecided about that. But yeah, you can probably tell how the series is going to work. I think it's going to be a really fun idea to see which one comes up on top and see which one turns out the best for Season 1 of this new Doctor Who series called the Doctor Who Ultimate Book Marathon. Now, what's happening with Nightshade and Transit, because I've already reviewed these Doctor Who books, I'm not going to be re-reviewing them. I'm not going to do that, because Nightshade getting a bit too much here, because I've reviewed the book and I've reviewed the Big Finish adaptation of it as well. I'm comparing both of them in depth as well, so I'm not going to re-review that one. How Nightshade and Transit are going to work, they'll just be featured in one of the other Doctor Who book reviews briefly at the end. So yeah, I've put Nightshade and Transit briefly in some book reviews. At the end of Kursaal, I'm going to talk briefly about Nightshade and see if my thoughts and opinions have changed on it. And in the book Longest Day, at the end, I will briefly discuss my new opinions or my updated opinions on Transit. That's how it's going to work. They're not going to get their own video because, you know, I'm only reviewing something I've already done, and don't need to do that with Nightshade really. So yeah, here is the list of all the Doctor Who books which are going to be reviewed in Season 1 of the Ultimate Book Marathon. And at the end, when I've done all these reviews, there'll be like a little mini overview video of the experience with the Virgin NAs and the BBC EDAs, maybe rank them all in order or something like that, see which one my least favourite is, see which one is the best out of these 24 selected Doctor Who books, and see which one is the winner. We've definitely got some very exciting Doctor Who books which are going to be reviewed and read very shortly. Some of them, you know, they could be diabolical. That's what makes this series a little bit more fun, because we're definitely going to have some books which are going to be absolutely classics. We might have some real stinkers in there probably, and some which I think are going to be good, but they're going to fall flat right on their face, just like some thespians. For the lineup of which is going to be better, the Virgin NAs or the BBC EDAs, that's a tough call really, because I've already read Nightshade, which is just frankly fantastic. Transit is one of those stories where it had some great ideas but floppy execution. Got some very good BBC EDAs as well, but the EDAs they're notorious for being extremely inconsistent. But yeah, we definitely do start on a stinker for this series, because this one here, I know it's appreciated by quite a few people, but it's mainly known to be, you know, quite crap really. Timewyrm Genesys, so it should be a very interesting start for the series. Yeah, the books I'm most looking forward to, I'm definitely looking forward to Cradle, Warhead. I'm really looking forward to that one. I love a nice dark bleak story, I do, and that one definitely looks bleak. And other ones, Alien Bodies, the best book in the world apparently. That's one I really need to see where all this hype is coming from. That should be an interesting one. And the one to conclude this season is actually CNI. I was thinking about Lucifer Horizon, but I said I'll throw that one out and add CNI to the last book within the season, because I'm seriously anticipating CNI, and it should be a very good finale. Yeah, I would say Warhead is definitely my most anticipated. I have a slight feeling Alien Bodies are going to find it a little overrated, but we'll see really. But the most anticipated EDA for me is actually the last one from the season, being CNI. Cannot wait to experience that one. So it's Warhead from the Virgin New Adventures and CNI from EDAs. Most read? I'm not going to actually say the Pit for the Virgin New Adventures. That would have been the obvious choice, but I don't think the Pit is going to be the worst. I think it might be a little underrated gem. I could be completely wrong though, but I'm not going to stomp on it, I'm not, because I basically know nothing about it really, so I'm not gonna talk crap on that one just yet. It's probably gonna be the first one actually, Timewyrm Genesys. I think it's gonna be a very slow start for the Virgin NAs really, so I don't think they're not going to really get off the ground. But the EDAs, I don't know really, they look pretty good, most of them. War of the Daleks is definitely the most notorious one out of ones so far. That might be, but you know, there is a group of people where really, you know, they talk very highly of it. It's just the continuity, which is just a huge mess, really. I've seen a few of the ideas of all the Daleks. I find them a little bit. I have to read it for myself really to find that out. So it might be War of the Daleks, but to be honest, it's not really dread. It's just more intrigue to see which way it would go, really, because I have no idea. The only book I'm really dreading is the first one, Timewyrm Genesys. The other ones, you know, I'm quite comfortable with the BBC EDAs. I am. It's just the one with Timewyrm Genesys. So yeah, that's this little short update video of this new series that are happening. A big series for the lovely Doctor Who books. If you love Doctor Who book reviews, then this series will definitely be for you. It'll be starting May this year, when actually my course has been completed, because I'll be finishing very early. Yeah, there will still be a few things happening in April. Sometimes I might be a little bit quiet. I know I've been a little bit quiet this year. I have, and 2016, you know, content's been a little quiet. But yeah, April there will be videos coming out, especially the recent 2,000 subscriber videos. You know, they'll be coming out, and a few Big Finish reviews and whatnot and things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you like the idea, and of course I will see you in the next video, which will either be, not sure which one's coming out first, a review of the Starman, or a nice lovely top 5 video of my most wanted items to add in my collection. It's a nice top 5 video, because I know a lot of people like these quick top 5 videos. So thanks for watching, and of course have a good one.